Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel. Fans outraged after Robyn's private rulebook comes to light. Is this the real reason the family fell? The sister wives fandom has been rattled with countless scandals, accusations, and shocking revelations over the years, but nothing has hit the community quite like the whispers and reports about Robyn Brown's so-called private rulebook, a set of unspoken yet highly influential guidelines that many fans believe dictated the downfall of the Brown family, once the central figure of plural marriage on reality TV. To understand why this alleged rulebook has sparked such outrage, one must first consider the dynamics of the Brown family before Robyn entered the picture. Kody Brown was already married to Mary, Janelle, and Christine, and while the household had its share of jealousy, disagreements, and the occasional rivalry, there was still a sense of cooperation and shared responsibility that kept the experiment of plural marriage functioning, at least on the surface. The arrival of Robyn changed everything, some would argue because Kody finally found the woman he was truly in love with, others because Robyn herself introduced a whole new set of expectations that clashed with the way the other wives had been operating for decades. According to fan speculation, online commentary, and even subtle hints dropped throughout seasons of Sister Wives, Robyn seemed to live by a private code, a playbook of sorts, that positioned her not as one equal wife among four but as the gatekeeper of Kody's heart and the architect of a future where she and her children were placed above everyone else. This rulebook wasn't written down but rather expressed in Robyn's behavior, her conversations with Kody, and the way she insisted on certain boundaries that the other wives were never granted. Fans were particularly outraged when they revisited old clips where Robyn would tearfully demand loyalty from the family, yet seemed unwilling to compromise in return. The hypocrisy became glaring in hindsight, especially after the family fractured almost completely, with Christine leaving first, then Janelle, and finally Mary, leaving Kody in a monogamous marriage with Robyn despite years of publicly insisting he never wanted that arrangement. What exactly was in this so-called rulebook? Fans pieced together its contents based on years of observation, and their theories paint a compelling picture. Rule 1. Kody's time and affection must be centered primarily on Robyn, regardless of the supposed rotational system that once governed the household. Rule 2. Any financial decisions must pass through Robyn, who seemed to exert disproportionate control over assets like the Coyote Pass property, business ventures, and even family debt, as seen in how Kody prioritized buying Robyn a mansion while Janelle was left living in an RV. Rule 3. Children from Robyn's household, especially those she brought into the marriage from her first relationship, deserved the full embrace of Kody's fatherhood, even at the expense of his biological children. With the other wives, many of whom complained that their father grew distant or absent. Rule 4. Robyn had to be shielded from criticism at all costs, with Kody openly chastising his other wives if they dared to challenge her or accuse her of favoritism. Rule 5. Loyalty to Robyn equaled loyalty to Kody, making it nearly impossible for the other wives to address their grievances without being accused of betrayal. Fans argue that once these rules became the silent law of the household, the family was doomed. The balance that polygamy required to function, however precariously, was shattered by a hierarchy that elevated one wife to queen status while demoting the others to mere placeholders. Outrage intensified when fans realized that Robyn's tearful pleas about wanting family unity often coincided with moments where she was consolidating more control, urging the family to buy property near her, discouraging the others from traveling too far, and making sure her preferences were always prioritized under the guise of compromise. Even Christine, who had always been upbeat and nurturing, admitted in later seasons that she couldn't handle the constant sidelining anymore, noting how Kody's affection and decision-making revolved almost exclusively around Robyn. To fans, this was proof that the private rulebook was very real, even if no one in the family ever formally acknowledged it. But the controversy goes deeper than favoritism. Many viewers feel betrayed because the show's original premise was to present polygamy as a lifestyle built on fairness, sisterhood, and shared sacrifice. Instead, the Browns became a case study in how polygamy can collapse into monogamy if one spouse manipulates the structure to their advantage. Robyn's defenders argue that she simply asked for stability and respect and that it was Kody's responsibility, not hers, that he failed to distribute love equally among his wives. Yet critics push back, noting that Robyn always seemed to know how to position herself as the victim, crying when others pushed back, ensuring that Kody swooped in to protect her. The result was that Meri became isolated, Janelle became exasperated, and Christine became so fed up that she left the marriage entirely, sparking one of the most dramatic breakups in reality television history. Fans point out how the infamous scene where Kody demanded loyalty to him and Robyn during the pandemic was the clearest example of the private rulebook in action. Rules around COVID safety suddenly became less about health and more about obedience to Robyn's comfort level, with Kody accusing the other wives of being reckless while praising Robyn for her caution. In retrospect, fans see this as another example of how her standards became the family's law. The outrage today stems from the realization that the family didn't fall apart because of polygamy itself, or even because of Kody's shortcomings alone, but because one wife was allowed to bend the rules in her favor until the system cracked under the weight of her control. Social media has been flooded with comments like "Robyn didn't join the family, she took it over," and "if this was supposed to be about sisterhood, why did it turn into the Robyn and Kody show?" The irony, of course, is that Robyn often framed herself as the most spiritual and selfless of the wives, speaking of sacrifice, faith, and the importance of unity, even as her private rulebook ensured she became the centerpiece of the family's structure. Whether intentionally manipulative or not, the consequences were undeniable. The family fell apart, the children became fractured in their relationships with their father, and the dream of building homes on Coyote Pass died in the shadow of mounting debt and resentment. Some fans even wonder if Robyn herself is happy now, given that she won the prize of being Kody's only wife but at the cost of becoming the most disliked cast member in Sister Wives history. Outrage continues to brew because this isn't just a story of one family, it's a broader reflection of how favoritism, inequality, and hidden rules can poison any relationship, plural or otherwise. Viewers invested over a decade of their lives watching the Browns, hoping to see how a plural marriage could succeed, only to witness its implosion under the weight of one woman's private expectations and a husband too blinded by his affection for her to enforce fairness. For many fans, the revelation of Robyn's private rulebook is the smoking gun, the missing puzzle piece that explains years of dysfunction and confirms their suspicions that she wasn't just another wife but the architect of the family's downfall. As debates rage on forums, podcasts, and social media groups, the question remains, was this Robyn's plan all along, or was she simply the beneficiary of Kody's favoritism? Either way, the damage is done, the family is fractured, and the outrage from fans shows no signs of cooling anytime soon, as the truth about Robyn's influence continues to unfold. The carefully constructed facade of the Brown family, a monument to pluralistic harmony and unconventional bliss that has been televised for over a decade on TLC's Sister Wives, has finally crumbled under the weight of a single, devastating revelation: the alleged existence of Robyn Brown's private rulebook. This isn't merely a new plot twist in the long-running saga of Kody and his 4 wives, it is the master key, discovered in the wreckage of a fractured family, that appears to unlock the true, agonizing reason for its catastrophic collapse. For legions of dedicated viewers, the emergence of these purported dictates, a clandestine set of protocols governing Kody's time, affections, and loyalties, has transformed years of confusion into crystalline, white-hot outrage, cementing the narrative that the family didn't just fail, but was systematically dismantled from within by a covert operation of favoritism and control. For seasons, the audience has been a frustrated witness to the growing chasms within the family, watching with a sense of helpless bewilderment as Meri was emotionally abandoned in a desolate catfish-induced purgatory, as Janelle's pragmatic independence was reframed as defiance, and as Christine's desperate pleas for equitable intimacy were dismissed as dramatic nagging, until she famously and courageously reached her breaking point and left the family in her dust. All the while, Kody's narrative has been one of bewildered victimhood, a self-proclaimed lion patriarch betrayed by wives who refused to follow his lead or adhere to the sacred principles of their plural marriage covenant. He presented himself as a man trying to hold a fracturing family together, met at every turn with rebellion and a lack of respect. This version of events, however galling, was the only one available, until now. The notion of a secret rulebook, allegedly authored or heavily influenced by Robyn, shatters Kody's victim persona and exposes a stunningly different reality, that he was not trying to unite the family, but was instead following a playbook designed to prioritize and protect one relationship above all others. The alleged rules, as pieced together from insider accounts and the wife's own fragmented testimonies, paint a picture of breathtaking manipulation and control. They reportedly included edicts that Cody could not stay the night with another wife if she had a conflict with Robyn.